The first thing to do when starting with OpenToonz is to download the software. The first place to go to download the software is the OpenToonz website. If you search in the browser, you will either end up on this page or you will end up on the English version of this page. And the OpenToonz homepage is opentoonz.github.io. We're just going to go to the English site. So with this page, it will have a description of what OpenToonz is. For those of you who do not already know, OpenToonz is a version of Toonz, which is a fully fledged 2D animation production studio. If we go down, we will see that it was used by Studio Ghibli, and OpenToonz is based off a customized version of Toonz that was used at Studio Ghibli. Carry on further down, we'll get more descriptions, and then we'll get to this page over here, which will say click to download. You'll have three options to download: OpenToonz, GTS, and Effects. OpenToonz is a link to the OpenToonz download. GTS is a custom scanning plugin in order to allow you to scan images, and the effects are additional effects plugins for OpenToonz. Over here amongst the links, you also have the user community for English speakers, which, if we open it over here, that will lead you to the official OpenToonz forum, which is where you should initially go if you are looking for any troubleshooting or basic information. So now we will go to download OpenToonz. Click over here. We will get the terms of use, which are still currently in Japanese. Then we'll get the two download links. These download links are for the stable versions of OpenToonz, and these are the download links I would recommend that you use when you are first trying to install the package. So if we were to click on that, we would get our download. If we navigate back to the download page, we'll see that we have the developer section over here, and you can download other versions of OpenToonz from this developer section if we go to the GitHub repository. Under the GitHub repository, under code, you'll see that we have releases. You can also post here about issues with OpenToonz, but until you know OpenToonz reasonably well, it's best to post queries on the Google Groups forums. So over here, under OpenToonz, we'll see under the Codes tab, there are 4 releases. If we click on that, we will get what is currently the newest release under the pre-release nightly build. This is pre-release software. It can have more errors. They may remove features at times because they are working on them. It is not always the best idea to download pre-release software. There can also be advantages in certain features that you're looking for which are not yet in the main package, but it is something to be careful of, and I would recommend starting with the stable release. Over here, the latest release is the same release as you have on the OpenToonz website. Beneath that, you will have the earlier releases. I would not recommend using either of these two. I would recommend starting with 1.0.2. Now there's one more place where we can go to download OpenToonz. So if we navigate here under OpenToonz, just click there. It will get us to the root of the OpenToonz project, and here we'll see OpenToonz Nightlies. OpenToonz Nightlies is a list of all the previous builds of OpenToonz. This has all the nightly releases, so if you are looking for a specific feature or specific versions, or if you've downloaded a nightly release and it doesn't work, you can always go to previous nightly releases. Not all the nightly releases will have installers, so you won't always get an OpenToonz package file or an OpenToonz exe file. In this case, I'm just going to download this exe file. Over here we'll see that you can get this warning, this program is not commonly downloaded and could harm your computer. Part of that is because I have downloaded it twice and it has this automatic 1 added. Part of it is that OpenToonz is not registered with Microsoft. It is basically a warning to say that you should make sure you are downloading the software from the correct place and you know what it is before installing. If I run it, we'll get the exact same thing, which is basically saying that this is not an application which has been registered with Microsoft, so they don't have any specific information about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that an application has problems. A lot of open source applications will be like this, but it does mean that you should make sure you are checking where you are downloading it from beforehand. When we run it, we will get the user account control, which is giving essentially the same warning. Then it will ask us for our language. There are more language options than these available, but those are only available from within the interface. So I'm going to run it, and then it is going to give you the OpenToonz license agreement, which you can read through. Then if you accept the agreement, click on accept the agreement, and then you can install. And then it is going to ask you where to install the OpenToonz stuff folder. Now I would also leave this as default. Most applications will store this information without any explicit option of where to put it. Usually they will be installed in Windows under the users folders, and with Mac they will have the same thing where the specific user information, things like preferences, will be stored in automatic locations, not necessarily accessible. Most of these things are best to leave default. Then it will ask you if you want to create shortcuts in the start menu folder, which I will ignore. It will ask you if you want desktop shortcuts, which I personally don't use, so I will ignore that as well. If you want a desktop shortcut, you just leave it checked. Then you can install it. And then it will ask if you want to launch OpenToonz once you're finished.